We ready?
All right. This is why you do the opening.
Yeah. Yeah. That was why right there.
That is why. No, I'm going to try now. All right.
Welcome to the edge of nowhere. They're playing games at the edges of what we know. Monster Lore Tour Podcast.
All right. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 70th episode of the Monster Lore Tour Paranormal Deep Dives from the Edge of Nowhere podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Carr, here along with my co-host in the Froderick to my Frankenstein's monster. There it is. Mr. Matt Ozero, a.k.a. the Moz. How we doing today, Moz?
Oh, I can't do wrong with starting with a young Frankenstein quote.
I'm so used to calling you Moz, I almost forgot your whole name there for a second, even though I've said it 69 times before to intro episodes.
Yeah, that's true. This is 70. That may, yeah, about right.
I'm like, he's just the Moz. What's his name again?
Yeah.
This is why I try. That's why I try to write everything down. I'm not using a script, and then I get lost.
We have scripts.
See, that's the difference right there.
Mm-hmm.
But anywho,
I have notes.
So we're here for episode 70. We're going to do things a little different today. We're kind of playing a little catch up on some things.
Catch up?
Yeah. Just don't put it on your hot dog, right?
Yep. Hey, no.
But I have been itching to find a place to cover that UAP hearing in the House of Representatives that happened a little while back. I feel like I'm super late with it as it is. And I couldn't find a spot, and Moz has some follow-up stuff from Owl Week and whatnot that he really wanted to get to. So we're going to do a little bit of a split episode today. Moz is going to do some follow-up on his stuff. I'm going to do some follow-up on my stuff. So basically, it's like an old business episode in a way. Just the whole episode is old business.
But I also have a game I invented yesterday.
Ooh,
we were supposed to get our tarot reading recently. We didn't, so I invented a game. It actually came up quite, it bubbled up for real, and we'll get to it. But it's a real thing that happened to me, and now I'm going to share it with you.
Cool. So it's like an us-file game.
Yeah, essentially, from 24 hours ago, about thereabouts.
Brought to you by Bolton Madley.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
LLC.
Patent pending. All right, but I'm going to let Moz go first with his follow-up stuff to lead the way. So you said you had some owl stuff and something else?
Yeah, I have the game, and I wanted to just do a little old bit business for the owl because
there you go.
We didn't actually say even all of our us files. It was a hodgepodge of things that happened to us at the end. I listened to the episode, and I felt like, in a way, we didn't quite capture some of the stuff. So I wanted to tell the ones that we forgot, and I wanted to kind of reiterate a couple of things. And then...
Oh, so this is a us file owl.
Yeah, well, yeah.
But then something happened. It happened to me.
I wanted to go... Really, I want you to tell your story about we forgot. I'll start and you can finish.
I don't remember what we forgot.
You'll remember in a minute. So we're driving through Tucson, which is not uncommon. And you wanted to do some editing, and we were heading for a specific place. I saw a coffee shop, and to give you the background, we had been ramping up, especially me, and to some degree you near the end, where there's just a lot of owls going on in the background. There was a lot of hooting everywhere I went. There seemed to be owls.
This is when the us files we did tell, that was when I was on my way down and I got out of the car and heard the owl first thing when I hit the desert. And then we had the Owls by Bones house where we were recording it. Right. You'd never see owls there. And So
well, you do.
This is that
he
same...
said you do, but he didn't like say, yeah, every night. It's like, I think I've heard him kind of thing. And it's the same with the lily ponds.
I had never seen
Sure,
him.
they're around.
I had never seen him there before. I've slept outside at Bones' house a lot.
Yeah.
And that was the only time I'd ever seen or heard owls there.
No, I'm with you. That's the same with me. But the background of that is I have been preparing 6 episodes for owls for quite some time. And as things got closer, we just heard more and more and saw more and more owls and heard more and more owls. And it seemed way beyond what you would consider baseline owls in your life.
Yeah, totally.
And the one we forgot, so we're just kind of going back. If you haven't seen that episode, check out our Us Files. We had our Us Files was going to be, basically something that happened to me 20 years ago, and then some tidbits about some adjacent owl. But in the last several months, so much owl stuff has happened. It became a very robust episode. Not planned, just what ended up happening while we deep dived owls. But we did forget a couple of tidbits, and one of them, we're driving through Tucson. You want to edit the last episode of Owl somewhere in public, out in like a coffee shop or a pub. And I said, hey, here's a coffee shop. We're just passing it. So we didn't know where we were, didn't know where we were going. I said, let's pull in here.
Total hole in the wall in this little strip mall we almost didn't even notice.
Right. We'll walk in, start editing the last episode of Owl Week, and we get just about done. Matter of fact, we were done. We were actually closing up shop.
Yeah, we were there for an hour and a half, maybe.
I'd say something like that.
Maybe even close to 2 hours. We were there for a while.
Yeah. And as we're getting ready, behind Jeremy, we're sitting in the corner table in this little bookstore. There's a bookshelf. And as we're getting up, I look behind Jeremy. It's not like a ton of stuffed animals. There's just 2 stuffed animals right over Jeremy's shoulder. And they were stuffed owls. Yep. And I pointed it out to him like, dude, look behind you,
And I was like, what the hell, man? Yeah. Let's get out of here.
Yeah. It wasn't. And then you have your 2 owl thing. You have your 2 hoots.
Those things were, I know, stuffed animals and all, but they were looking right over my shoulder as I was editing. And for me, it's always 2 owls.
Yeah, and what is that? If you want to reiterate that component to it.
I don't even remember.
You told heard me 2 hoots everywhere you went. And you also saw 2 owls.
Driving up to Flagstaff, like the last leg up, once I got up, getting into like Sedona area up there, 2 owls. Like, I don't know what was going on, but they were like right next to each other. I don't know if they were, trying to get too friendly or fighting or what, but 2 owls went over my car at the same time. And usually when you see them, they're like crossing the road.
Yeah.
These things came like right at me and like swooped up my windshield, like made me jump like, whoa, what the hell was that? You know what I mean?
It's just odd. The whole thing, smacked of a little oddness. So here's the next part. And I kind of said this, but now that 3 weeks have gone by since we were done, it's become more of a moment. And this is kind of why I'm doing this part. I said at the end, I kind of expected... again, a little background, and I did say this already. I tried to manifest a UFO because McClellan's work is about owls and UFOs. Did not see any UFO, never saw a UFO, just tons of owls.
Unless the owls are the UFO.
Right. That there's that. But at the same time, nothing was happening, or things were ramping up. But then, as I said in the episode, things kind of just died down. I expected and I don't know why I expect things now, but I do. I expected when we did our last broadcast here, our last podcast here, that there would be owls around. We didn't hear any that night, if I remember correctly, because I was expecting them and they weren't there, which was a little odd.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know what it's based on. Was it just the writing of it and the recording of it? Those guys were watching us edit. I don't know, like when to them the process becomes not so interesting anymore. You know what I mean?
Well, what ended up happening, I did say this as well. This is a repeat, but I want to reiterate something. When we edited the final episode, we did it on Zoom. We just listened to the last episode. We made some edits, and then we were done with all 6.
Yeah.
And that moment, I walked out of that door because we're back in this same place. As soon as I walked out, I heard 3, possibly a 4th in the distance, owls all around. And I actually recorded them that night, which is not something the MOZ usually does. But I did actually record some I can play for you. So we did get owl sound that night. But then and it's not that interesting. It's just owls hooting. But as I walked out around the block, they were just everywhere. And, 3, possibly 4. It was a cacophony again of owls. And now here's the interesting point. So I got back and I told you it seemed to have died down.
Yeah, that's the last you told me about it. You said the owls are gone and I'm dreaming of the Djinn.
Right.
Because we got the Djinn coming up.
Right. So and again, I don't know why these things are following these courses at all. But now that it's been 3 weeks, I guess the interesting part is I haven't heard any owls in 3. We're now 3 weeks past this moment. And these things are in the neighborhood. And I only thought maybe I sort of kind of heard one during a walk. Maybe it was so far it was inconclusive.
And it's still the season for them, too.
They're around. They live in a tree not far from here. It's not uncommon to hear one. It's just they were so entrenched in what we were doing and so around. And now that I kind of asked, I think I asked in the podcast, is this a Cleland thing or is this a me thing? And then there is a funny component to it because 3 weeks, nothing. I heard one definitive owl in the last 3 weeks. And it was, I heard, hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo. And I turn around to that television set. Well, all of a sudden I hear hoo-hoo, hoo-hoo, and I look over and Buffy's in the cemetery having a tough time with guys. So she's just bored and hunting for vampires.
As one does.
As one does. So she's hanging out in the cemetery and there's an owl. That's the only owl I've heard in the last 3 weeks.
And it was on TV.
It was on TV. It's just
the real interesting part is the ones that are in your neighborhood.
Yeah.
And you were totally in their path every day.
Yep.
The whole time we were doing that. And as soon as we're done, they don't come into your path anymore.
Yep.
That's an interesting bit right there.
Like they were interested in what we were talking about, which makes no sense because they're owls.
And if it had kept happening after you finished the owl thing and they were here throughout the season, that would make sense.
Well, it doesn't. I've been here.
The fact that they stopped right there and you don't see them anymore.
I've been here 4 years. They're around, but they're very fleeting. Catch a glimpse, hear a hoot, and that's been it. This has been weird.
Yeah.
And it ended. And I said I was kind of trying to guess whether it would be a Cleland thing. We were tapping into his mojo and it was just going to end. And I asked that question at some point. Is this going to end when these end? Or is now, because I found out during the midst of this, I'm a totem, I have an owl totem. Is it going to continue? Because now I'm part of the magician. But no, I think we have a definitive answer. It ended. It was Mike Cleland. And listen, dude, stop, okay? Like, what are you doing?
So for people who want to test this theory, people who think we're crazy or people who don't think we're crazy and want to actually try it out for themselves, what's your best advice? Should they go back and listen to our 6-episode series on owls and really start thinking about all this stuff, read some Cleland, things like that?
Well, the thing that captures it, and I just want to reiterate, the best example Cleland ever gave was this guy driving on the road, listening to Mike Cleland talk on a podcast in his car. Owl flies, drives over a bridge, owl flies by, then he sees a UFO. Like, it doesn't get any clearer than that. That it seems to be what you're focusing on. Well, I don't know because, again, I don't know what you should focus on because some of this stuff is darker. And is it going to spur you towards a mystical experience and be something positive? Even Cleland admits that this stuff is really ambiguous because some people really have this mystical experience and it's a great and powerful thing that they're figuring out. Other people are frightened to death and it's horrible and they're tortured and tormented.
Yeah. And
again, I'm making quite a transition from owls to Djinn because Djinn are some of those torturers. And it's, like I said, I was warned about doing this podcast by our INFJ because of this, and I didn't know. I mean, I've read all this stuff, but I don't know. I guess when it happens to you, I am in a deep dive mode, and I'm in a deep dive mode. I am in a, ordering books and reading some things that in succession, and kind of really deep diving certain subjects to see if there's anything worth bringing back.
I got my own personal theory on that.
Do it.
Once again, it's all vibration, man. When you start aiming your mind that focusedly at something, it changes your brain wave. It literally changes the vibration at which your brain is operating, which is going to change the way you perceive things.
Or you're collapsing the wave and you're seeing the owlicle.
And or you're connecting to things, like you're getting on the same vibration as them, and it attracts them. Like, oh, who's got the owl vibration going on? That's interesting.
Yeah.
And when you stop thinking about it so much, you start turning your energy towards something else.
Yeah.
They don't get attracted to you anymore because you're not giving off that same vibration that they operate at.
This is why I think I'm going to do a 6-part on Jessica Alba next season.
Yeah, try it. Manifestation is a real thing, and I really think it is a lot about just the focus and the thought and the mindset of things.
That would be womanifestation, to be honest with you, but we don't talk about that. So that's what I got. That's what I brought. It's a little weird. Again, I question whether people will start questioning us. But I don't care. It is what it is.
I mean, we're weirdo paranerdalists who do a paranormal podcast. If you're not questioning us, you should wonder about yourself.
But it's gotten weird in the last couple of years.
But that's why we're here. I approach this more as a philosopher than anything. It's just about asking questions and seeing where they lead you. And once in a while, you might actually come up with some kind of answer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh, we have. I think we've I don't know. There's a lot of people doing this, and a lot of it's more personal understanding, but hopefully we're conveying some of that to folks, and it's helpful, is really, I guess, at the end of the day.
I think I'm going to name my working hypothesis vibrational transdimensionality. How's that?
There you go.
Yeah.
VTD.
See if I can find a scientist to tell me what I just said.
Well, that's what I did. I made an algorithm at the end of season 1, and now I have to spend the rest of the seasons figuring out what that means.
Figuring out what the hell you wrote. Yeah. I do that to myself a lot. Like, what a great idea. I wonder what it means.
Yep. We're going to figure it out together.
Yeah. And that's how the way your mind can get beyond you sometimes when you get into things like this is kind of wild.
Yep.
But okay, thank you for that, Moz. That was a good little trip of philosophy on the owl thing again. Oh, and if anybody does want to go back and hear that whole saga, episodes 56 through 59 is the initial Owl Week, and then what was it? It was 64 is the Us-File stuff that we were just talking about, and 66 is the full-on Owl wrap-up.
See, what you used to do is you did it off the top of your head. Now you're cheating.
I remembered where the original 4 were, but I couldn't remember where the 2 follow-ups were. I had to look at my list. I did cheat a little bit there.
Yeah. I was impressed that for like 50 episodes, you always knew what episode we were talking about. That was pretty good.
It's how I can tell we have a lot of episodes now, because I can't just remember them all.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm starting to slip because there's just too many to remember.
I block them out like through therapy.
Yeah. Yep. I'm like, remember that Hollow Moon episode? And he's like, the what?
Who did what to the what now?
The what now?
Yeah.
All right. So I guess that's going to be my turn. We're going to play the game at the end, right? We'll do that for our closing.
I invented a game yesterday because our plans changed. We were supposed to actually be recording in Tucson. This is one of our rare flubs.
Oh, right.
And while, as of yesterday, something happened that created this synchronistic game. I invented it based on what happened, and we'll play it at the end of the episode when you after your UAP stuff.
Yeah, I'm finally going to get to do my kind of highlight reel breakdown of that recent UAP House hearing. So we covered the first UAP-themed House hearing last year, which featured Commander Fravor and former U.S. Navy pilot Ryan Graves, both of whom had first-hand airborne encounters with UAPs. But this year they had what will hopefully be an ongoing sort of annual UAP-themed hearing in the House again. This year they had a new assortment of experts there to testify. We had 4 witnesses this time, including Luis Elizondo, who we heard about in episode 6 and 7. He's a former intelligence officer behind the disclosure of the Go Fast, Gimbal, Tic Tac, and other UAP videos. We'll hear a lot more in his background and whatnot as we go. We had Dr. Timothy Gallaudet, Gallaudet. I believe it's like Creolish. Gallaudet is how I'm going to say it. An American oceanographer and retired rear admiral in the U.S. Navy. Then we have Michael Schellenberger, who is an American author and journalist known for his work on environmental policy, free speech, and homelessness, and now apparently UAPs and related secret programs. He seems to be the guy that some of the unnamed whistleblowers have gone to actually report this stuff for them because they trust him not to reveal his sources and throw him under the UAP, as it were. And finally, we have a Mr. Michael Gold, who is NASA's former Associate Administrator of Space Policy and Partnerships and a member of the organization's independent UAP study team. He is not a scientist, I believe he's a lawyer, but he's kind of neck deep in all this UAP stuff at NASA. So they tried to get people with different angles and connections to this and whatnot to come in and testify together. And it's really quite the distinguished panel of real kind of expert types as far as, as close as what we can have to experts on things like this these days. And some new factors were actually brought to light here to add to last year's hearing. I'm going to start with Dr. Gallaudet's testimony. Dr. Gallaudet was the chief meteorologist for the fleet the day Ryan Graves had his close encounter with the UAP discussed in last year's hearing, which has become one of the more famous UAP-era encounters. Here is, in Dr. Gallaudet's own words, how he became involved in this realm.
Confirmation that UAPs are real came to me in January of 2015 when I was serving as the commander of the Navy Meteorology and Oceanography Command. At the time, my personnel were participating in a pre-deployment naval exercise off the U.S. East Coast. It included the USS Theodore Roosevelt Carrier Strike Group, and this exercise was overseen by the United States Fleet Forces Command, led by a 4-star admiral who at the time was also my superior officer. During this exercise, I received an email on Navy's secure network from the operations officer of U.S. Fleet Forces Command. The email was addressed to all the subordinate commanders, and the subject line read in all capital letters, "Urgent Safety of Flight Issue." The text of the email was brief but alarming, with words to the effect, "If any of you know what these are, tell me ASAP. We are having multiple near mid-air collisions, and if we do not resolve this soon, we are going to have to shut down the exercise." Attached to the email is what is now known as the Go Fast video, captured on the forward-looking infrared sensor of one of the Navy F-A-18 aircraft participating in the exercise. The now declassified video showed an unidentified object exhibiting flight and structural characteristics unlike anything in our arsenal. The implication of the email was clear. The author was asking whether any of the recipients were aware of classified technology demonstrations that could explain these objects. Because the DoD policy is to rigorously deconflict such demonstrations with live exercises, I was confident this was not the case. The very next day, that email disappeared from my account and those of the other recipients, without explanation. Moreover, the commander of Fleet Forces Command and the operations officer never discussed the subject, even during weekly meetings specifically designed to address issues affecting exercises like the one in which the Theodore Roosevelt Strike Group was participating.
And the game is afoot, MOZ.
There you go.
So he and many members of the fleet not only witnessed the radar readings and other data, as well as pilots having a rash of near misses with these things in the area.
They cause a rash?
Actually, they do. If you get too close to them, it's like radiation.
I'll bet.
But apparently Ryan Graves wasn't the only pilot with, that kind of experience that day. They seemed to be all over the place, followed by an all too obvious cover-up by the higher-ups after the incident.
Yeah.
So then we add this to the game board here, I guess, right? Speaking of games that we're going to play, here's the next little piece.
Just this week, I learned from former DoD official Chris Mellon that satellite imagery of UAP from a few years ago still has not been shared with Congress.
And we see that the supposedly directed oversight of this stuff, which is in the law now, by the way, that Congress is supposed to know about this stuff, just isn't getting done. There's no oversight.
It's because of smoking, man. That's my understanding.
Well, it's a similar sort of setup, yeah. For all the talk of disclosure and the random bits of video being released, it seems the real truth of the thing is being covered up just as much now as in past decades, if not more so. Now it may be even worse, because they act like they're giving us something real with these little clips of video, but compared to what these actual experts testify to at this hearing, they are really just distracting us with little shinies as the real truth and data are being secreted away even from those in the highest seats of power who are supposed to be doing the oversight on this stuff. You know, it as much as they're talking disclosure and seem to be giving us things, it seems to be part of an even deeper cover-up than it ever was before.
Yeah, so it's it's a the bait and switch kind of thing going on.
Yeah, pretty much. And this goes deeper than just cover-ups as well. Anyone who comes forward to speak out against these things is still being put through the ringer by those who want to keep the truth from getting out there, even though they have these supposed channels for people to actually report these things and to be...
You tape an X on the window, and then the guy shows up in Mulder's apartment.
Yeah, they have a process.
Yeah, it's a process.
But they're not sticking to it. Here is Dr. Gallaudet's personal experience with this.
Earlier this year, I met with the DoD's All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, and what I thought would be a 90-minute meeting just to meet with leadership turned out to be an hours-long influence operation on me, where they attempted to convince me of the validity of the very flawed and error-ridden historical records report. In addition, they tried to have me question very valid UAP reports like the Tic Tac incident, and even coming to stating possibly that the Tic Tac was American technology. And then, of course, if you ask David Fravor or Alex Dietrich, the two witnesses, they were convinced it was otherwise. And then, and they also cast discredit on various UAP whistleblowers and witnesses to question their validity and credibility as witnesses.
There you go, same old game. I guess they are playing with us here, Moz, which may be the most aggravating part. They try to keep the truth undercover from everyone, and when someone has the courage to try to come forward with any bits of the truth, they do everything in their power to gaslight, discourage, and discredit them.
Right.
Again, for all the talk of disclosure over the last couple of years and all the showboating like these hearings themselves, it seems the government isn't actually making any real progress toward getting the real truth of these phenomena out to the public at this point, or even to the people who are supposed to be overseeing this information.
At least we try to gaslight and discourage, we self do that, you know. We don't
That is true.
Have to have it outsourced like the government. Yeah. We just do it, you know, when we speak.
And I am overblowing it a little bit. Maybe there is at least a faction within the government that is actively trying to bring this stuff to the public. But I feel like they're, running up against a brick wall a lot of the time when they try to do it. And they're such the minority that actually want to bring this out. That I think it's very much still an uphill battle.
I'd like to read that minority report, though.
There is a report that we're going to get into from Mr. Schellenberger, which is actually the focus of this thing, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself. It isn't so much about the fact that people don't know about this stuff, but the fact that the people who are supposed to know about this stuff still don't really have the first inkling about what's really going on. Not that I would trust politicians to know what to do about any of it anyway, or that they would do the right thing with it even if they knew what that was. Yeah. But without them tearing down the walls this stuff is hidden behind, I fear that no one will ever get any of the truth that's in there somewhere. It's in there somewhere. It's not out there somewhere. It's in there somewhere. Is where the truth is.
Tear down the wall, we won't get to the dark side of the moon. That's what I would say.
Right. Pink can't break out of the cocoon without tearing down the wall, man.
And he isn't well. He's back at the hotel.
I'm not going to continue down that road. I think Mr. Michael Schellenberger actually summed this all up best when he said this.
The DOD will deny things on a Monday and then admit to it on a Friday, said Greenwald.
And there you go. That's kind of the policy now. They're like, oh, yeah, that's a thing. And oh, no, that's not a thing.
Yeah.
Just total gaslighting, misdirection. Yeah. And this is a direct problem for the pilots in the air. Like, there's real practical reasons why we need to know what's going on with this stuff. Here is how Mr. Gallaudet sums up that issue of pilot safety.
Admiral, flight safety risks for our pilots, based on what you've experienced and seen in your career.
They're extensive, and the one exercise I referred to where I received the email that was then deleted was the pilots, and this is worth bringing out. There are debunkers out there who have said the Go Fast video was just a balloon. That was only one video that was released. There were dozens of these encounters that pilots and friends of Ryan Graves, who's in this room right here, witnessed and caused significant safety concerns. And to almost call out and exercise it and shut it down, which is very compressed, and the carrier's getting ready for deployment, and the pilots have to get certified to land on a carrier. It's extreme, to say the least.
So there you go. The reaction from the higher-ups when it's actually happening tells you there's something really bad going on, something potentially very dangerous going on. And they still won't tell even the people involved in the situation who should know just for safety reasons and have clearances and are in the military and can be made to not tell anyone later. They still won't tell them what's going on.
But also they're using the same playbook from the 40s with it's a weather balloon. You know, like get a new playbook, you know, like what? Say something else besides balloons and weather balloons. And
they put birds on the list now. Birds.
Yeah.
Birds.
Could be Thunderbirds. Thunderbirds would do that. Thunderbirds could disrupt a military exercise.
And as part of the gaslighting, they release these videos that are birds.
They're releasing Thunderbirds?
No, they release like the FLIR or whatever videos.
Yeah.
And like label them as UAP or UFO. And then you watch and you're like, that's a bird.
Yeah.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
You know, this is a UAP. No, it's not.
Yeah.
And then when real ones come out and you've already seen the one that's a bird, how much are you going to believe the real one?
Could be the rope end because some glow. Remember the bioluminescent pterodactyl phenomenon?
Yeah.
Do they fly over Madagascar a lot? I guess is what we should ask our military.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Actually, they fly over our military bases a lot, so we will get into the military.
I get you.
That's all coming up in a little bit here. But for now, we're going to switch gears to the next contestant on the UAP testimony board here. We have Mr. Elizondo. We heard from Mr. Elizondo, as I said back in episode 6 and 7. He's a bit of an OG in the UAP sphere, you know. For those not yet familiar with Mr. Elizondo, though, here is his background in his own words.
My background is I went to school to study microbiology and immunology, entered into the U.S. Army, and after a very short stint in military intelligence, I became a counterintelligence special agent. As a civilian, later on I became a special agent in charge, running investigations in counterterrorism and counterespionage primarily, with some experience in counterinsurgency and counter-narcotics. And then in 2009 timeframe, when I came back to the Pentagon after a tour with the Director of National Intelligence, I quickly became part of a program that was originally called OSAP that evolved into the program now called ATIP, which is where those videos that we now see, the Go Fast, the Gimbal, the FLIR, that was part of our effort, sir.
And part of what he means by part of their effort is he's pretty much the guy that released those videos to the public and made sure we saw them.
Yeah, and he probably got a lot of flack for that.
He did. It's why he's not in that position anymore. He still has some kind of connection. He's under signed affidavit. He can't talk about certain things. There was a lot of things he gave the old "I can tell you" in a skiff or whatever kind of answer to the question.
Should have released just the ATIP, is my opinion.
Wow. But he's pretty much the guy. Mr. Elizondo here is pretty much the guy that sparked this big disclosure, movement that's going on these days. So I'm give a lot of props to him. Actually, can we get some mad Cujos for Mr. Elizondo?
Damn boy!
What if I said no? Is it too late?
No, because I give the mad Cujos. I give them whenever I want.
I know, and it seems, I don't know, authoritarian in some level.
I just thought it was more proper to ask.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Meaningless. I'm being meaninglessly polite.
There you go.
Yes, meaninglessly polite.
I'm just calling you on it. Speaking of gaslighting.
And speaking of gaslighting, this Mr. Elizondo, he talks straight. He's not going to mince any words with us. Here is how he sums up the situation with the supposedly alien technology plaguing our skies.
Let me be clear. UAP are real. Advanced technologies not made by our government or any other government are monitoring sensitive military installations around the globe. Furthermore, the U.S. is in possession of UAP technologies, as are some of our adversaries. I believe we are in the midst of a multi-decade secretive arms race, one funded by misallocated taxpayer dollars and hidden from our elected representatives and oversight bodies.
Doesn't get any clearer than that. We are being invaded and no one is talking about it. Those in the know are keeping it from the people who are supposed to know, which leaves us all not knowing what the hell is going on. Not a great situation no matter how you slice it. But how bad is it really? How much of a threat do these mysterious phenomena pose to us and our planet? Here is Mr. Elizondo's threat assessment of the situation.
How would you characterize UAPs?
An enigma, sir, and a frustration. We're talking about technologies that can outperform anything we have in our inventory. And if this was an adversarial technology, this would be an intelligence failure eclipsing that of 9/11 by an order of magnitude.
Threat level 9/11 to the 10th power.
That's a big number.
I've avoided thinking too deeply on the implications of that.
This is like if you took the Twinkie and it wasn't 30 feet long, it was like 33,000 feet long.
Yeah, the Twinkie's now, instead of the size of a bus, it's the size of the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
You know?
Yep. Which is not far from Sigourney Weaver's refrigerator in that movie.
I am the keymaster.
Yeah.
Are you the gatekeeper?
God, I hope not.
I really hope not, too. Because there's implications there, Moz. But anywho, the threat is not just in our skies and beyond. During this hearing, there were a lot of mentions of submersible craft as well as airborne and spaceborne. There have been numerous witnesses to these mysterious craft seemingly transitioning between space, atmosphere, and ocean and back again without any hesitation or even noticeable change of speed. There is nothing in the collective knowledge of humans that would allow that sort of movement between mediums without noticeable, at least pauses in motion or conversion of vehicle to go from one medium to another.
Can I give like a Pratchett prelude to the game?
Sure.
He calls the submarine something like the thing that allows us to go under the water safely device.
Yeah. Self-contained underwater breathing apparatus.
There you go.
Scuba. Yeah. But back to these guys. For example, here is just such a mention of submersibles during a discussion about non-governmental contractors getting more access to this stuff than the proper overseers in the government. There's a lot going on in this one. Give a listen.
We do work with international partners and allies quite often, not just in military exercises and workups, but in other intelligence efforts as well.
In terms of material that's given to private contractors, is certain material given to certain contractors because of their experience? So, for example, if it's related to submerged and undersea propulsion, would it go to a general contractor like General Dynamics?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely correct. Different contractors have different levels of expertise.
What's Lockheed's expertise?
Aerospace, ma'am.
In the UAP space, that's all that they wouldn't do submerged.
No, I didn't say that, ma'am.
Okay.
Lockheed Martin and others do quite a bit of work both in our atmosphere, in space, and even underwater. There are certain efforts to. It's a tough question you're asking. You put me on the spot here.
I'm looking for the answer.
Yes, ma'am. No, they are involved in a lot. I would rather let Lockheed Martin explain the different domains that they are involved with. I'm not authorized to discuss that, but they are involved in a lot of different areas and domains.
Ooh.
Domain
Yeah.
really implies, aerospace beyond kind of thing.
Yeah. Domain is a
Big word.
Big word to use right there.
Yeah.
And it's scary that these corporations are so deep in this without even our own military, for the most part, knowing what it is these corporations are working on.
Mm-hmm.
But that's for another time. That might even be a whole nother episode. Right now, I'm going to stick with the submersible angle. Some consider the possibility of these submersible craft, instead of being extraterrestrial,
Ultra.
I knew you were going to beat me to that. This is a big Moz theory really here.
It's John Kill, but yes.
Well, you like it too, though.
I do.
Ultra terrestrial. That means they actually originate from this planet. The main concept behind this belief is they live on the bottom of the ocean, have been here far longer than us, and have developed technologies far beyond our own understanding.
Or Hollow Earth.
Or Hollow Earth, I guess, would be an option as
or
well.
Moon base.
But it's this whole submersible thing
right.
that makes it people think they're actually on the bottom of the, or maybe even like go through caves in the ocean somewhere.
Yeah, that's dangerous. They shouldn't do that.
But one of the factors behind this theory is the UAPs seeming to focus on military sites, particularly those that house nuclear capabilities. The most recent example of this was the recent flap of unidentified drone-type craft swarming around over Langley Air Force Base. For those unfamiliar with this, that just happened a couple months ago as of recording. Here is an excerpt from Newsweek published October 14th, 2024, just a couple months ago, to explain what happened at Langley. Mysterious drones have been spotted flying around one of the U.S.'s most sensitive military areas, leaving defense officials and local authorities stumped as to who is behind the unknown, uncrewed aerial vehicles zipping across the sky around a major U.S. airbase. U.S. military personnel reported drones appearing in restricted airspace over Langley Air Force Base in Hampton, Virginia, shortly after sunset during a period of more than 2 weeks, according to the Wall Street Journal. The drones appeared in December last year, according to the report, pulling in officials across the Pentagon, FBI, and the Defense Department's Specialized Office for Investigating Unidentified Aerial Phenomena, UAPs. One senior official based at Langley told the Journal that multiple drones headed across Chesapeake Bay and further south toward the city of Norfolk. They reportedly traveled across Naval Station Norfolk and the world's largest naval port and the main base for the Navy's vaunted SEAL Team 6. Unless the drones are an imminent threat, by law they cannot be shot down near military bases. Which is weird to me.
Are you sure it's Langley Air Force Base, or I thought it was Frohickey Air Force Base? Because we should start the three gunmen. I mean, the lone gunman. Me, you, and Bone should start a newspaper about some of this stuff.
That'd be cool.
It'd be done, but
it would be a Substack now. They call it Substacks now. That's what it would be.
We'll call it the Langley.
I got one more paragraph here, though. Officials haven't determined if the drones belong to enthusiasts or are operated by countries such as Russia or China. According to the report, U.S. officials are not convinced that hobbyists were behind the controls, with the drones flying in a pattern and using a frequency band not associated with easily bought commercial drones, the Journal reported. So, Russia, maybe? China? Could be. Ultra-terrestrials from the bottom of the ocean? Can't rule it out.
Yeah.
Here is how they addressed it in the hearing.
We'll go to Mr. Elizondo. Hope I got that right, or not at least
Close
not
enough,
sir. You're familiar with the recent drone incursion over Langley Air Force Base?
Yes, sir.
The owners of these drones remain unclear. The U.S. military has not been able to give us in Congress an answer. Given your experience with the Department of Defense and the intelligence community, how frequently are UAP sightings over military installations? And secondly, I suppose hypothetically you could have incursions over just, say, regular airports. Is it obvious these incursions are more likely over military facilities than just a random airport out there?
Yes, sir. There's definitely enough data to suggest that there is certainly some sort of relationship between sensitive U.S. military installations, also some of our nuclear equities, and also some of our Department of Energy sites. There is a long historical record that some of your colleagues may have documentation that demonstrates this. This is not a new trend. This has been going on for decades, and that information has been obfuscated, unfortunately, from folks like you in this committee. And I think that's problematic because ultimately, at the end of the day, we have a significant situation here. We have something that can enter into U.S. airspace completely with no attribution.
And how long has this been going on?
Sir, decades.
Decades. Like since Roswell, if not before, I imagine that means.
I think they're not just balloons. I think they're balloon animals at this point. Like they're at least in funny shapes.
Well, they're weather balloons, you know.
Whether they're balloons or not.
I actually saw a weather balloon that everyone thought was a UFO over Flagstaff one day. It was the craziest thing. I was up on the hill just outside downtown, up on Cherry Hill, and there's this thing that full on, oh my God, that's a UFO. Mm-hmm. I start recording it and everything, and like people all over town are suddenly posting about it all over online in real time. Oh my God, there's a UFO over Flagstaff. Oh my God. And then
it was a weather balloon.
It was either NASA or the Navy, but one of those N organizations went online and was like, we just launched a next gen weather balloon over Flagstaff. If you look real close, you're going to see that it's, a weather balloon. And then everybody started zooming in on their pictures and videos and stuff. I'm like, we were all very disappointed.
Well, if you want to go way back to the Drudge Report today, there was a drone that's been a whole neighborhood along the Jersey Shore is being this drone's going up and down the shoreline. Basically, that's an unknown entity. Yeah, today.
Yeah.
So
today,
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 the Drudge Report
like right
today,
now?
right now. Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Yep,
that's not that far off.
It's amazing because you're always late. I get to do a lot of extra research on the news.
I like to give you a couple extra hours to prepare yourself mentally.
Because something will happen related to what you're saying.
Yeah,
usually.
But I want to get into a little quick theorizing here for a minute, if you'll indulge me, Moz. If these things are ultra-terrestrial and share a planet with all us stupid hairless monkeys who can't figure out a little zero-point energy transportation system, wouldn't it make sense for them to be a bit curious about the weapons we made that could literally destroy the whole planet?
Yeah, if they're here, this is kind of like if they're subletting,
right?
We're subletting. I don't know what the arrangement is.
Like they're coming up and looking around going, what the hell are these guys up to right now? And to get a little ahuli guano with it, say we try to launch a full-scale nuclear attack. And by we, I mean humans as a species, not any specific country.
Russia.
Or China or U.S. or Iran or
South
Israel.
Korea stuff's going south too right now.
There's all kinds of places who might throw a nuclear bomb at somebody. North Korea.
Yeah. I mean, South Korea is just having its problems, but North Korea would be the nuke people.
Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of contenders on the list these days. I'm waiting to see where they put the Armageddon clock in January this time around.
Oh, yeah. We're like 2 minutes to midnight or something?
We were 30 seconds to midnight last year. I'm wondering how much closer we're going to get because it's going to be less.
I remember when we were 10 to midnight because that was a Charles Bronson movie in the 80s.
Yeah. No, we're like 30 seconds to midnight as of last year.
Really?
And things have gotten worse.
Wow.
But back to this. Would these UAPings, see what I did there instead of beings, UAPings, somehow stop this attack? Or if they are unable to stop us, somehow punish us for our misdeeds if we manage to upset their way of life with our special brand of idiocy? Mm-hmm. Like, are they watching these things and like figuring out, okay, if they actually try to use these, we're just going to turn them off?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Imagine if that's how we find out about a far more advanced ultra-terrestrial race living on or species, I should say, living on the bottom of the ocean or in the hollow earth or whatever.
That's the anti-Zephram Cochrane theory.
But imagine if that's how we find out they're there, is if they stop us from destroying ourselves.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's why they're hanging out at these things. I mean, that is a obvious place to go with that.
Yeah.
So they're interested enough in military bases and nuclear sites and nuclear missile sites.
Yeah, and like in a real way, they got statistics on it that they're far more likely to be seen there than anywhere.
Yeah, but Jeff Goldblum can go into the craft of the mothership and download some type of virus. That's my understanding. My limited understanding of this.
Yeah, we're gonna win against the aliens with tic-tac-toe like in war games.
Yeah. Oh, tic-tac-toe. See what you did there.
All right, let's go now to the input made by the journalist on the panel, who recently published an in-depth report on UAPs and the widespread cover-up being conducted within the darker corners of our government, Mr. Michael Schellenberger. To be clear, a major part of this hearing was based on this report by Mr. Schellenberger, and it is all based on personal testimonies of in-the-know whistleblowers who went to Mr. Schellenberger with their story. Why him, you may ask? He testified under oath in a congressional hearing that he would go to prison before revealing his sources. Wow. He said it right on mic in this hearing. Real old school Woodward and Bernstein style journalist.
That's what I was thinking of, yeah.
He's a real journalist. Yeah. This report was blowing some minds in the committee. The main focus of this report was a previously quadruple super secret black book style program known as Immaculate Constellation.
Oh, really?
Immaculate Constellation. Mm-hmm. Remember, you're going to see this name in the future, believe me. Here is some longer clippage from Mr. Schellenberger's testimony, giving some background on the UAP situation, then getting into some specifics on the Immaculate Constellation. He will mention the report we're talking about a couple of minutes in. Basically 5 minutes of disclosure gold here. So give a listen and we'll see you on the other side. It's actually exactly 4 minutes and 20 seconds worth. How's that?
One of Congress's most important responsibilities is oversight of the executive branch in general and the military and intelligence community in particular. Unfortunately, there is a growing body of evidence that the U.S. government is not being transparent about what it knows about unidentified anomalous phenomena, and that elements within the military and the IC are in violation of their constitutional duty to notify Congress of their operations. President-elect Donald Trump and former President Barack Obama have both said that the government has information about UAPs that it has not released. There are other explanations for UAPs than that they represent a new form of life or non-human life. Current dominant alternative theories, including those put forward by Arrow, are that UAPs are some kind of natural phenomena we don't yet understand, like ball lightning or plasma. They could also be part of some new U.S. or foreign government weapons programs, such as drones, aircraft, balloons, CGI, hoaxes, or birds. Whatever UAPs are, Congress must be informed, as must the people of the United States. We have a right to know what UAPs are, no matter what they are. However, we now have existing and former U.S. government officials who have told Congress that Arrow and the Pentagon have broken the law by not revealing a significant body of information about UAPs, including military intelligence databases that have evidence of their existence as physical craft. One of those individuals is a current or former U.S. government official acting as a UAP whistleblower. This person has written a report. This is the report that says the executive branch has been managing UAP, NHI issues without congressional knowledge, oversight, or authorization for some time, quite possibly decades. Furthermore, these individuals have revealed the name of an active and highly secretive DoD unacknowledged special access program, or USAP. The source of that document told me that the USAP is a strategic intelligence program that is part of the U.S. military family of long-standing, highly sensitive programs dealing with various aspects of the UAP problem. The new UAP whistleblower claims that the U.S. military and IC database includes videos and images taken using infrared, forward-looking infrared, full-motion video, and still photography. The report that was just shared with Congress says Immaculate Constellation serves as a central or parent USAP that consolidates observations of UAPs by both tasked and untasked collection platforms. Immaculate Constellation includes high-quality imagery intelligence and measurement and signature intelligence of UAPs, the whistleblower's report adds. The sources of this intelligence are a blend of directed and incidental collection capabilities, positioned in low Earth orbit, the upper atmosphere, as well as military and civilian aviation altitudes and maritime environments. The report to Congress details in detail various UAPs, including spheres, orbs, disks, saucers, ovals, triangles, boomerang, arrowhead, and irregular organic. The report describes various incidents found in the human intelligence databases. One involved orbs surrounding and forcing an F-22 out of its patrol area. In another incident, the crew of a Navy aircraft carrier watched a small orange-red sphere rapidly descend from a high altitude of 100 to 200 yards directly above the flight deck of the CVN, or aircraft carrier. And since my reporting on this Immaculate Constellation last month, another source came forward who told me that they saw a roughly 13-minute-long, high-definition, full-color video of a white orb UAP coming out of the ocean approximately 20 miles off the coast of Kuwait. It was filmed from a helicopter. Then halfway through the video, the person said the orb is joined by another orb that briefly comes into the frame from the left before rapidly moving again out of the frame. The person discovered the video on SIPR, the Secure Internet Protocol Router Network, which the DoD uses to transmit classified information. A leading UAP researcher who utilizes the Freedom of Information Act to find out what the government knows, John Greenwald, told me last year that the U.S. government had been increasingly denying his request for UAP information. He has been doing FOIA requests for 27 years and has an archive of 3 million pages. The government has for decades denied any interest in UFOs, he told me, but the documents that he has assembled show that behind the scenes, it was a completely different story.
So they're acting, again, like they're trying to get the truth out, while doing their damnedest to keep it all even further undercover than it's been in the past. As Mr. Schellenberger told us earlier,
the DoD will deny things on a Monday and then admit to it on a Friday, said Greenwald.
Makes better sense now, doesn't it?
Yeah.
But here's a bit more in the Immaculate Constellation before we get into it. Give me another 30 seconds, then we'll talk about it.
Understanding is that this is the database is very large. It includes both the images, the videos, the still images, as well as the human intelligence, the reports, the raw data from individuals having these experiences. So in answer to your question, yeah, I mean, I think we're looking at a very large amount of data collected over many decades.
And that data is held by the Department of Defense?
Well, I will say that after I published, I was told that this program, that the USAP was actually managed by the Department of Defense, but held at the White House.
Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. I'm going to try to just hit some main points and not get too long-winded about it. But so, Immaculate Constellation, huge database with 3 million pages of entries, all about UAP encounters, all these different kinds of crafts, when and where it happened, documents of what happened, speeds of the craft if they had, all this data, endless points of data about all this stuff.
Department of Defense has this.
But that's the thing, they scramble it.
Yeah.
The Department of Defense is supposedly in charge of it, but it's held at the White House, and who actually at the White House knows about it, who in the Department of Defense knows about it. How many people actually even have seen this in person?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And there are laws that say, I'm not too happy about the people that would be in charge of it, but there's laws that say they have to show this to the lawmakers, to the politicians, to certain branches of I don't know if it's the military specifically, but I'm sure, national security type places would like to know about this stuff as well.
Yeah.
And how many people actually know about it? That's what scares me. Don't even tell us. Just tell the people who can actually maybe prepare for something, or actually the people who are actually in a position where they really should know. You know what I mean? Tell our military leaders what's going on, man. Tell our national security people what's going on. Tell them.
Well, I thought of this, and it became something dumb, and you'll probably be mad at me for saying it, but I was thinking we should dedicate a social media platform to investigating this, and we can call it TikTok Talk. That's what I thought of, and then I stopped paying attention because I thought of a funny joke, and then you get mad at me because I wasn't listening.
That may be a lot smarter than you think. You might want to create that before this episode comes out, or somebody's going to steal it.
Nope.
And if we haven't made it by the time this episode comes out, we're probably not going to, because we're slackers. So go ahead and steal it if you want.
Maybe that's what Musk is doing with X, is he's calling that guy to his apartment to get some of the down and dirty,
Phrasing, Moz.
Oh, yeah.
You want to say that again?
Closer. We have a closer.
We have 5 closers in this episode.
True. That's true. I'll let that slide.
But some of the finer points there.
Dirty. Dang.
Yeah, that's when you got to think about before you say it,
Very Freudian here.
Yeah. But to get into a little bit more of the finer points there as well, the whole thing with the thing buzzed an aircraft carrier. One of these, did you hear that part?
No.
It was 20 feet from the deck of an aircraft carrier.
In some ways, they're so advanced, they're not going to crash into us. And I know that it could happen, and there's people's lives, and this is scary, and we don't know what it is. But they can get out of our way, generally. It seems so far. Yeah. I know they talk about pilot safety, and if someone I know is in that cockpit, I understand the concern. But generally, these things are not messing with us or crashing into us. They're way more advanced, and they're doing their thing. as disturbing as that may be, I don't know if they're in danger of like, well, this UAP had a few too many and crashed into. That hasn't happened.
Right,
you know?
Right. Well, I mean, there is the whole Roswell thing, if you're going to get into it. And there's supposedly been times where things have been shot down purposefully.
Right.
And if, mechanical failure is a thing, I don't care how advanced you get, something can always go wrong. If these things have been all over the place, a lot for a long time, at some point, something's going to crash.
If I'm in an F-35, I'm not thinking that the Foo Fighter is going to crash into me accidentally.
Oh, yeah.
It is way more advanced.
Yeah.
That is it can happen.
It can happen, but from everything we've seen of it, like when Fravor was playing chicken with the Tic Tac, the thing just jumped like 60 miles left.
Right.
It wasn't going to hit him.
Yeah.
Which, that's a good point. That's a good point. And the other thing is, when you get that close to an aircraft carrier, don't you think there's going to be some kind of defensive reaction usually to some kind of foreign aircraft getting that? Like, why did they not shoot it down? Did they not see it coming until they saw it visually? Was it not on the radar? Like, there's so much information to that one happening that is not there. Like, this is the kind of information we need to start getting.
Well, the aircraft carrier actually got it with its doorbell cam later. They were viewing the footage.
I just wonder if just the people who had eyes on the thing when it flew over were like, oh my God, what's that? And never showed up on the systems.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering.
Exactly.
Like it's true surprise buzz, like they didn't even see it coming.
Yeah. It's like that stuff you brought last week.
Yeah. And then you get back to the submersibles. The whole 13-minute long HD color video of these orbs going in and out of the ocean and meeting up in midair and acting like they're got some kind of intelligence behind them, some kind of consciousness behind them, and technologies that, I mean, if this is another country, we're screwed because they're generations ahead of us.
Yeah, it's not.
And it's not.
It's not.
Like, humans don't know how to do that.
Yeah, this is such a leap.
All right. Moving on, now I want to get into a few of the new encounter stories that came out of Mr. Schellenberger's report during the hearing. This is some pretty wild stuff. Here is Rep. Burleson, one of whose minds was noticeably blown by this report, reading a couple of choice bits into the congressional record.
But I just want to read a couple of things from Mr. Schellenberger's what he gave to us today, because I think this is interesting stuff, and I just want to convey this to you. On USG networks, there exists infrared footage of and imagery of a grouping of vessels engaged in SIGINT and massive collection at night in a specific area of the Pacific Ocean. This footage, which was in close proximity to the vessels, a large equilateral triangle UAP suddenly appears directly over the ships. These three bright points are seen at each bottom corner of the UAP, which is observed to slowly rotate on its horizontal axis. And he goes on to describe that. And I just want to read one more, and I'm doing this because I think it's interesting. This stuff is interesting as anything. So let's get this one here, right here. While performing a routine airspace surveillance and control mission in the Eastern Air Defense Sector, an F-22 fighter observed multiple UAP contacts at mission altitude. Moving to intercept the F-22 pilot noted multiple metallic orbs slightly smaller than a sedan hovering in place. Upon vectoring towards the UAPs, a smaller formation of the metallic orbs accelerated at rapid speed towards the F-22, which was unable to establish radar locks on the presumed hostile UAPs. The F-22 broke trajectory and attempted to evade, but was intercepted and boxed in by approximately 3 to 6 UAPs.
So, to clarify, the F-22 Raptor is a fifth-generation stealth fighter known for its advanced capabilities, including air superiority, ground attack, electronic warfare, and reconnaissance. It features stealth technology, super cruise ability, high agility, and advanced avionics, making it one of the most formidable aircraft in modern military aviation. So how hard do you think it is to box in a scrambling F-22, MOZ? Because that's what these car-sized, wingless, seemingly propulsionless craft did, and they did it easily. Is it time to panic yet?
There you go. I would say.
Because my heart races every time I hear that. They
Yeah.
boxed in an F-22 Raptor.
Like a turtle's pecker.
Metallic orbs with no wings and no noticeable propulsion systems boxed in an F-22 Raptor.
Yeah.
That's a new one.
Well,
It kind of, like when you really stop to think about it, it kind of makes you realize why they're not telling us this.
yeah, it's because it's just going to panic when
Yeah.
we think something is that much more
Yeah.
advanced than you. But now it makes you think today, it's like, anything would be more. The tardigrades are more intelligent than we are, so.
In their way. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm rooting for those guys in the future, by the way.
I'm pretty sure mushrooms are smarter than us. So where does that put us?
I know. I think
Oh boy.
the Tartashrooms, so I'm rooting for.
Tartashrooms.
That's my wolf man puck.
Anywho, so at this point, we have a lot of concepts and theories as to what these UAPs may be. But there is one more thing to think about when you're laying awake thinking about all this stuff tonight. Biologics. It was pretty much confirmed in last year's hearing that the US and other governments around the world have recovered what they call non-human biologics. It brings to mind the bodies supposedly recovered at Roswell and the subsequent alien autopsy video, or videos, as it were. But at the same time, this is a very vague term. Biologics could be anything from the Blob to Starman to Klaatu. And if you got all of those references, please shoot me an email because you're my friend.
I did. Klaatu brought a Nikto.
Mm-hmm.
And
well, Klaatu is when the day the Earth stood still,
right? Why are you saying that? Yeah. I mean, that's what I was saying.
Yeah, and then Starman is
Starman with Jeff Bridges.
Yellow light means go very, very fast.
With what's her name from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
In the Blob, into which you dipped Dr. Manhattan's Rocky Mountain bet spheres.
Which will be forever known for.
Back in, I think that was episode 15, 14. I don't know. It's one of those probe episodes back there.
And I'll say it again. I was at the diner in Downingtown, Pennsylvania, where Steve McQueen cornered that blob with some fire hydrants.
Yeah. There you go. But as far as the biologics go, here is a quick breakdown on the definition of that from the expert panel of witnesses here. This is actually Mr. Gold's time to shine.
How would you define, each of you, my last question, how would you define non-human biologics, non-human intelligence? What are we actually talking about? Admiral, and we'll go down the line.
I don't think it's a stretch when you look at the diversity of life on this planet and the size of this universe to think that there would be more diverse, higher order, non-human intelligences throughout the universe. And that's probably what's visiting us.
I would take the scientific approach. The definition would be the ability to react to a stimulus in a manner that requires an intellectual thought process.
I just don't know.
I think we must be modest in our assumptions that we're looking for intelligence that could be biological. It might not.
Non-biological, but what non-biological intelligence, what does that mean though?
Artificial intelligence, ML, machines. We assume that all intelligence would be like us. And every time we look out in the universe, we are humbled relative to what we don't know in terms of the forms of intelligence and what it may take. I can assure you I probably can't ask you your question, but I think the ultimate answer is going to surprise us all.
Is he suggesting that Optimus Prime is visiting us? Is this a Transformers style thing? That's what he just said, right?
Well, I mean, he's leaving out all the really goofy, inorganic being-y kind of things that are not biologics, but are inorganic. You know, it doesn't mean necessarily AI. It means just a form of intelligence we can't grasp or understand.
The Silver Surfer?
Yeah.
Metallic?
Yeah.
Conscious, intelligent, flies around, goes wherever the hell he wants in the galaxy because he doesn't have to breathe because he's metal.
You just bring it back the point break thing that I got wrong with a bathroom break point. Is that your point break?
Point break, because the Johnny Utah.
This is wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of Keanu Reeves' better roles, actually. That's a surprisingly good movie.
Yeah, and it was, what's his name? Val Kilmer, right? Who was the other guy?
Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze.
Yeah, Keanu and Patrick Swayze. Good match. Good match.
Yep.
They played well off each other. Wow, this is so random it feels like a side trail. But back to business here. There's your word on the concept of biologics from the experts. I hope that helped a little bit. It's still, it's really hard to lock in, but
it's hard to lockheed.
So now I have the closing number before the encore here. This is my MVP of the hearing. This is Rep. Timmons. So, he's going to get some mad cujos too. Some cujos from Rep. Timmons, please. Down boy! Because when I'm editing later, I like to hear the please. Yeah. He was so good with his 5 minutes. Actually, he was near the end. So he's kind of like doubling back to finer points of things that have already been asked, stuff we've already listened to. And he was so good with his 5 minutes that we're just going to listen to the whole thing. This will build upon our entire discussion, really. So it's really cool. So here we go. Let's do that. And then we'll see you on the other side for the takeaways.
Mr. Elizondo, you just said something interesting. You said they don't seem to be hiding. The UAP sightings are becoming increasingly brash, if you will. And, we've been hearing about these for years, but they've generally been isolated and not as consistent and over-critical military installations. Would you say that's fair? Is this becoming increasingly often? Is it happening more and more?
Great question, sir. Let me see if I can answer this for you. Certainly, there seems to be some indication that they're being provocative, meaning that they're, in some cases, literally splitting aircraft formations right down the middle. So that's an air safety issue. The question is it the frequency increasing? And the response is it depends. Yes, it's possible that there is an increase in frequency, but it's also possible that there's heightened awareness now, and there's also more pervasiveness of technology out there that's collecting this information and that can record this information. So we're not quite sure yet if it's actually an increase in numbers of these events, or is it that we have better equipment now that to record these things, and we have a better ability, if you will, to analyze these things.
And that's my next question. It seems that a lot of these sightings occur near military installations. Do you think that these UAPs are intentionally targeting military installations, or do you think that we have increased abilities to monitor surrounding the military installations?
Sir, maybe both. Part of my concern is we have something in the Department of Defense and the intelligence community called IPB, in initial preparations of the battle space. And we use equities like ISR, intelligence, surveillance, reconnaissance, and other type of equities and technologies to prep the battle space. And certainly, if I was wearing my national security hat, even if there was a 2% chance that there was some sort of hostile intent here, that's 2% higher than we really can accept. And so we must figure out, there's a calculus, capabilities versus intent, in order to identify if something is a national security threat. We've seen some of the capabilities, yet we have no idea the intent. And so this is why this discussion is somewhat, I think, problematic from a governmental perspective, because we have no idea.
Sure, thank you. Mr. Schellenberger, you're particularly familiar with the Langley Air Force Base incident a year ago? Are you familiar?
Just from what I read in the
Just
news.
from what you've read?
Yeah.
I would imagine a large percentage of the American population became aware of that with the Wall Street Journal article. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
And were you aware of that incident prior to the Wall Street Journal article?
No.
To the rest of the panel, was the Wall Street Journal article the first time that y'all were made aware of what was essentially an over 2-week UAP frenzy over Langley Air Force Base? Were y'all aware of this prior to the Wall Street Journal article? Anybody? Show of hands. Yes,
sir.
Dr. Guyette, could you give me how did you become aware of it?
A colleague of mine who I referenced previously, Chris Mellon, he wrote an extensive article about this, that there were other incursions of drones over Langley before this, as well as many, many military installations over the last 5 decades.
And it's my understanding that there's been an ever increasing in number, and I'm trying to think how to say this because I wear 2 different hats. I'm still in the Air Force. So, I mean, it seems that they're becoming increasingly brash, and the question that we really have to figure out is it China or is it non-human? And I think that's the biggest question the American people want to know. If it's China, it's scary because they have a lot of technology that we cannot explain. And if it's non-human, that's scary because we don't know the intent. Would you say that's fair?
Yes, Congressman. And in fact, I really believe that we should use this hearing as a catalyst to improve and bolster our air defense capabilities and our maritime domain awareness capabilities, because obviously there are holes in it, whether it be UAP of non-HI direction or NHI direction, or, as you say, sir, China or any other adversary.
Are you all aware of any task force at the Pentagon or in the national security apparatus that's trying to assess the answer to that question?
At the current moment, sir, no, but this is a great point. From 2020 to 2022, there was a UAP task force in the DoD succeeding where Mr. Elizondo worked, led by Jay Stratton, who had the first comprehensive whole-of-government approach to UAP, which involved pathways to declassification and to increase transparency, as well as assessing the national security risks of UAP. This was a really well-established approach, and we have all advocated that something like it return.
I'm running out of time. The last thing is that we need authorities. The law enforcement, military do not have authorities to actually engage, and Congress needs to act to give those authorities to local law enforcement and the military, so they have clear guidelines on how to assess these issues going forward. I yield back. Thank you.
So there you go, kind of putting a finer point on a lot of stuff there, getting into some people actually are trying to get the truth out. I like how they got to that again. You got any takeaways from that you think we should add?
It summarizes, the problem, the concern. I don't entirely agree as far as, I just feel like, again, same thing came up with when we were talking about the Djinn earlier, is just if something's that much more advanced, I don't think it's China. And if it wanted to squash us like a bug, it would have. I mean, it doesn't mean it has good intent for us.
That is the interesting part, that if it is that, if it really wanted to just take the place over or be rid of us or, whatever that is, it seems like they could just snap their fingers basically and make it happen.
Why would that cause panic in the streets? Because they haven't. If it was them, they would use that technology. The people who are scared would say, well, if I could kill them, I would. They're not killing us, so what? I don't know.
Right.
Maybe the Vulcans land on the, and Zephram Cochrane and all that shit happens, and except this is different. This is just we screwed up so much. It's the alternate ending.
Was the Abyss a documentary? That's my question.
Yeah.
Do you remember that movie?
Oh yeah.
It totally
James Cameron.
I haven't seen it in a long time.
Yeah.
But
not that old, is it?
It's pretty old.
Yeah.
Pretty old. I was young when that came out.
Dang.
But
I mean, still my age, I feel like.
Listening to all this submersible stuff and the orbs going in and out of the water and all these concepts about the submersibles, it totally brought my mind back to that movie.
Oh, yeah.
It's an impactful one. You watch that movie, you're going to remember it.
Yeah, I got to watch it again. I'll understand more about the Abyss.
Yeah, yeah. But it's totally like that. It's, the intelligent species of totally non-human, but totally more intelligent and advanced.
But when you're watching the Abyss,
in the trenches,
cover up the video thing because the Abyss stares back.
Ooh, yeah. Don't stare into. You got to watch it with your peripheral.
Cover the video. Yeah,
watch it with your peripheral.
Side, cover up any.
Don't stare at it, or it stares back.
No.
That's good advice. All right, let's see. Am I still going? I forgot I was hosting here. I'm just talking. All right, so that's my breakdown of the happenings at this hopefully now annual House Committee hearing on UAPs.
Where is this going to be held? We got to hit this next time.
Washington, D.C., man.
Because I think we can give up one Comic-Con year and kind of do this next time.
That'd actually be kind of cool to go sit in on this.
Yeah.
Oh, if they're doing one next year, we should totally go. That's a good idea. But to leave us on a high note, I do want to play this clip from Rep. Garcia. You'll notice I didn't really play the politicians too much in this one. I left it to the expert panel of
on behalf of everyone,
witnesses.
Thank you.
Yes, and purposefully. Yeah. But I did want to add this in because it shows that at least some people in the government are making a real effort, or at least apparent effort, to, make this stuff come out and get it into the hands at least that it's supposed to be in. So check out this clip.
Earlier this year, as part of the House Defense Authorization Bill, the NDAA, I had filed an amendment to include the UAP Disclosure Act, which would create a UAP Records Review Board and exercise with exercise of eminent domain over UAP-related material, modeled actually on the JFK Assassination Records Collection Act, which is widely known. Now, the amendment was blocked, but thankfully the Senate included the amendment by Senator Rounds and Schumer for the UAP Disclosure Act. So I just again want to say that we should be pushing and ensuring the UAP Disclosure Act, which is bipartisan in its support, should move forward. And if I can just briefly, particularly Admiral, can you just briefly, as I close my time, explain why the UAP Disclosure Act would be critical for us and our national security?
Thank you, Congressman. Yes, I believe the UAP Disclosure Act is important for national security, as well as advancing potential socioeconomic benefits resulting from UAP research, as well as public safety, as we referred to previously regarding aviation. And this act will allow for greater transparency and open research, and that's why I'm also a member of the UAP Disclosure Fund as an advisor, as in the Sol Foundation, as an advisor, senior strategic advisor, which is advocating for the same.
Thank you very much. I yield back.
So what I get from this, and where I'm going to leave this hearing highlight reel on a note of realistic optimism, I feel, is the government is big and slow. It tends to move in baby steps. I see those steps being taken with every release of new video. As much as there is the gaslighting, I do see these baby steps being taken with every release of new videos, like those released by Mr. Elizondo. Every publishing of a properly researched report, like Mr. Schellenberger's, and truly curious and proactive Congress members, like at least a few of those who were mentioned in this presentation. My hope is that we hold society together long enough to take enough of those baby steps to get some real idea about what the hell's going on around here. What do you think our odds are of sticking around long enough for that to happen, Moz?
I think, I don't say this often, but I'm going to say you're dead wrong. The only thing you can do is use the clippers on the chain link fence, get into Frohickey Air Force Base, and find out what's really going on, because they ain't going to tell us unless they already know ahead of time what their plausible deniability plan is. And I don't, this drip of nothingness, I'm not really as excited about that as you. I think these are more whistleblowers and then a creation of a backstory than any real effort on the part of those who know, and we all know what happens to them. They're surrounded by those aliens with their families, and they're all killed in like one of the final seasons of the X-Files. So,
I was trying to leave this on a high note, Moz.
Well, the high note is some of the people weren't there. Like they couldn't make it, or they had got a flat tire on the way.
Yeah.
So it's all good. And they went on with, what's his name showed up, the Terminator guy, and they did another episode with Scully and him. So yeah. So,
right. The T2 Terminator.
Exactly.
The liquid Terminator.
Yeah.
Okay, but I'm wrapped up. So in lieu of our typical closing segments, Moz is going to teach us this new game today. You want to?
I do.
Tell us what there's a bed covered with books upside down, so the cover's down. It's like you can't see the titles. Is what I guess you're going for there.
Correct.
Okay, so what do I do with these untitled books?
Well, let me give you a little background of why this game came to be 24 hours ago. Actually, less is probably 16 hours ago. We can figure it out later. Essentially, do you see this empty bookshelf in my library? We're sitting in my library right now.
The bottom shelf.
The bottom shelf's empty, and the reason is there's an outlet down there. We're actually getting an electrician to give, so it goes both ways to the patio, and he needs access to it. This started because that shelf is my Terry Pratchett shelf. So I took all my Pratchett's so that the electrician could come in and do this, and I put them along on the way. That way, that Foot Locker over there, I just put these 4 columns of Terry Pratchett books on this Foot Locker. And returning, to my room, I kind of looked over yesterday and saw that it was 4 stacks of Terry Pratchett books. 3 were face down and 1 was face up. And that book over there, the white one that says Good Omens, that's the only one you can see from the back. They're all face
got the
down.
title on the back.
That one, isn't it funny that one has its title on the back, and that was the one that I could see from the front.
Right.
And that's what triggered this. It said Good Omens.
Okay.
And I immediately thought, because I'm trying to look at the world a little differently than I did before we started this podcast. And I'm like, wow, here we got a game. I have 3 face down Terry Pratchett books, and one says Good Omens. And now I have my Djinn 3 wishes of what is these, as I turn them over, what do they mean?
So this is a prelude to your upcoming Djinn episode.
It immediately became a kind of a tarot moment that I'm playing a game with these books.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So you were doing a tarot Pratchett reading for yourself.
Yeah. So basically I start turning over these books. And the first one, and again, it's 4 columns. One says Good Omens, the other 3 are face down. First one I flip over is The Fifth Elephant, his book, The Fifth Elephant. The second I flip over is The Feet of Clay. And the third book I turn over is His Interesting Times. So if those are not a Terry Pratchett fan, he's a great...
Wait, so you had The Fifth Elephant, Clay Feet?
Feet of Clay
Feet
is
of
the
Clay,
second one.
which is a very elephantine sounding thing. And then
Interesting Times.
Interesting Times indeed, my friend.
Right. So I'm going to explain
what did you take
this.
from that?
I'm going to explain. First off, Terry Pratchett, if you're not familiar, he's passed, but he was for a few decades, one of just the funniest writers, in my opinion, and what he did with his Discworld science, it's basically fantasy comedy. Wonderful series if you can get your hands on it. I own 25 books, apparently. Found that out because of the electrician, so I actually counted them.
A whole shelf's worth.
A shelf's worth. And these are the 3 that I picked. Fifth Elephant, Feet of Clay, and Interesting Times. Those were the 3. Good Omens, he co-wrote with Neil Gaiman, actually. And that was the one facing up. And it kind of lured me in. Said, it's Good Omens. This is going to be fine. It's like a Djinn trick, right?
Yeah, it is.
The Djinn's like, hey, come on, play. And on the cover, pick up the Good Omens. It's right over there. Pick that up.
You want.
Exactly. Look at the cover. This is it's a story of the apocalypse. It's got your angel and your demon.
Dude, they made a show out of this.
Correct.
2 seasons. That's a really good show.
Yep.
I didn't even realize. Yeah, that's the show.
So you've got the halo, you've got the horns. But the horns and the pitchfork are more prominent on the cover because the pitchfork also forms the M in omens, and the O's are the halo and the horns.
It takes up more of the symbology.
Yeah, the more of the symbology is a little darker. It's a little more Djinn-like, in my opinion.
Yep, definitely is.
So I immediately came up with an idea of what Fifth Elephant, Feet of Clay, and Interesting Times meant.
There you go.
Fifth Element in Discworld is actually... on top of the Great Atuan is this giant turtle, this space turtle, that 4 elephants, kind of Vedic mythology, is propped. The world is propped on these. This is a disc, actually, propped on the 4 elephants on top of Great Atuan, the space turtle.
Oh, okay.
That's Discworld. And essentially the 5th element is a story of the other elephant that was involved, the Atlas Shrugged kind of elephant.
Yeah.
And for me, it felt like these are the pillars. For me, I just took that these are the foundation and the pillars holding up the world. So we have Good Omens. Now we're talking about the things holding up the whole world, these elephants. That's what I took from it. These are the things holding up the world. Feet of Clay is actually a story of a golem. It's a golem story.
Oh.
So we've got this monstrous golem that comes to defend Ankh-Morpork, and essentially what that meant for me is, how does that relate to today? And we're asking, or at least the country asked, will Donald Trump save us? So we've created a golem to save us, and the golem does save us, but it also sometimes,
yeah, most of the time you can't actually control the golem. You can't
control the golem, yeah. So we've asked this, basically this being to surface as a protector. The third book is Interesting Times. Now,
indeed, my friend.
That is, and I think I actually learned this from the book, if I'm not mistaken. It's an old Chinese curse. May you live during interesting times.
Oh,
means if historically shit's going to happen, it's going to be very interesting.
It's one of those backhanded compliment kind of things.
Correct. So I said, Good Omens. let's see what this means. Turn over fifth elephant, which is the pillars of the disc world are in play. A golem is rising as a protector, which is going to bring about the Chinese curse of interesting times that we're about to live in.
Yeah, and disease, war, and famine make very interesting times themselves.
Yes. So do nuclear holocausts,
yeah,
for
there
that
you
matter.
go.
So they are talking about a Chinese curse and war, and they weren't good omens. So I was thinking...
Because it's a Djinn trick, man. It's a Djinn trick.
Well, Neil Gaiman might have been the one saying good omens, and I totally went Pratchett here. Pratchett just brought me to a dark place, essentially. So in the next hour, I decided to just look at all the books and say, can I create a game out of this to equally torment you?
Which is one of your favorite pastimes.
Well, I had to deal with it. And again, it's because I'm looking at the universe a little differently. I'm looking for meaning.
Right.
And I honestly saw 3 Terry Pratchett faces in the back of these books and the good omens, and I thought immediately, oh, and I don't think that way. Bone might. He's a gamester. I'm not a gamester.
Right.
But I'm trying to think a little like now with synchronicity, meaning things are bubbling up. Let's just turn those 3 books over and see what they are. So, immediately, I had a reading.
Are you going to do a reading for me right now? Is that what's going on?
Correct.
So I need to flip 3 books over, and you're going to do a live, real-time reading?
Correct. And let me tell you the rules of this game. So I own 25, as it turns out, Terry Pratchett books. 2 of them are the same. I didn't know that either. I actually bought one book twice.
Okay.
Didn't know that till today, really. Okay. So those are not going to be what they mean. They are the doppelganger books. So if you pick one of those, we'll discuss what that means. One book is a draw again, because I was like, I don't know what this means. I don't care. We're going to just draw again. So there's a draw again. It's the book Pyramids. So that will be the draw again card.
The pyramids are out of the game.
The pyramids are out of the game. It's just too old in our memory banks.
Because we can't understand the symbology of it.
Exactly.
I gotcha.
And there's one book I didn't read in this group, and it was his last book, and it was the last book I bought for Pratchett. It was on other things, and it's our Trickster card, and it's one of his, I think is probably his last, maybe one of his last, if not his last. If you pick that one, we'll get to that.
Okay.
And then I thought, well, I want a 26th one thrown in here. So I randomly put in a non-Pratchett as the wild card, the Joker.
Okay.
So we have a Trickster and a Joker in this deck. And 26 turned out to be half of a deck of cards, as it turns out. So.
Okay.
And I didn't know that either till I was doing it. So you are now going to pick 3. And you're going to hand them to me, and I'm going to give you your reading.
Okay. I'm going to take the farthest one away.
No, not that one.
And then I'm going to take this one's been looking at me funny. And then I'm going to go, what am I feeling? I'm just looking at that because it's red. I'm going to go with this one next to the red one. How's that?
Not so good, but you got one. Dude,
that's 3.
Right. I guess you picked 3. I had 4. It was Good Omens. See, we're inventing the game as we go. Should Good Omens be the start?
I need like my base.
I don't know.
I thought it was a 3-book reading. It's a 4-book reading. Oh, because you need the 4 to make the 1.
I was 4. Oh, the 4ing of the 3.
Yeah. So now I have to pick my power book.
Your power book.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. We're learning as we go here, kids.
Yeah. Okay. Actually, this one was really
calling to you.
Yeah. The corner out on the edge and the darkness under the pillow.
There you go.
That's my power book.
That is your power book. All right. So we will start with the power book. So
let me adjust my mic. I'm going to sit back down.
So your power book is Guards, and it was one of the first. The hardbacks.
Wait, say that again. Guards.
It's called Guards. It's like Sergeant. It's Vimes. It's Vimes and his little Ankh-Morpork kind of security guards that often show up in some of these books. To give you an idea, the hardbacks are some of his older ones, and all the paperbacks are his more recent.
Oh yeah.
And you picked 2 of each, so you picked 2 new ones and 2 older ones. Yeah. Your power book Guards is a story about basically it's a ruse where they're trying to depose the leader they got a dragon involved, and they're going to have some hero go in and save the day, and the dragon is supposed to be slain. He pretends to be slain, kind of thing, and they're going to make that this is our new leader, depose the old one, kind of thing. It all works really well until the dragon comes back and says, "Nah, this ain't good enough. I want to get back into the game. I want to be the leader." So he kind of comes back to mess things up a little bit. So this is the hero's journey, basically. You have a dragon, you have a game, you have a ruse, but it backfires. So your dragon slaying, the dragon comes back. So
oh boy. This
is like you slayed the dragon, but then the dragon's like, meh, I'm going to come back into this game. So you have some more dragons to slay on your hero's journey, potentially, which is what we're doing in this podcast, potentially. So your power card is very hero's journey oriented, I'd say, and Ouroboros-y.
I am starting another podcast next month.
Yeah. So
the dragon.
Is this where you tell me we're breaking up right now?
The dragon's coming
just because
back.
of this book, because you don't like your reading so far. Oh, the dragon's coming back.
The dragon's coming back.
There you go. So
I got to do it all over again. I got to slay that dragon all over again. I just finished doing it just got comfortable with this one, and now I got to do another one.
There you go. Maybe there we go. And listening to Jung, we have to listen to what it means to you and what the symbols mean to you, and we're going to go with as your power is that there's the second dragon that you need to slay.
Okay.
Dragon Slayer. Now you handed me, and we should know the order. It's in reverse order.
The bottom one was first.
So this was the first one, and it's soul music. And this is a really fitting one for you.
Nice.
Because you're a huge lover of music.
Oh, yeah.
And this is about a band in Ankh-Morpork, like the troll plays the drums. They got this band going.
Hell yeah.
But Death takes a holiday during this thing, and somehow the band ends up like breaking the space-time continuum.
Does that mean we're actually going to build our time machine finally?
So, yes.
I'd hate to waste all those microwaves and fridges.
In many ways, this is about what you talk about. You love music, and you love the space-time continuum. Yeah. You love the Tesseractian worldview.
So that's this podcast.
Yes.
Basically.
But the thing is, there's a death component, because death definitely is on holiday, which allows for the band to cause this mischief, if I'm remembering correctly. So essentially, there's a death component to it. But your soul music is a part of your soul, and it is music. And that was the one calling. You said that was the one in the back. Remember, you said this is the one I'm going to reach for.
Yeah.
So you went right for your...
Straight for it.
And I would say it is, soul music is a huge part of you. And you are getting the band back together.
So there's death is not an option for this. That's what that tells me.
Death takes a holiday.
I'm cheating death to make all this happen.
So yes, this is very Ingmar Bergman. You're playing chess with death on a beach or something, but you're playing a guitar.
Metaphorically, I understand what that means.
I'm
not going to go too deep into my stuff right now. But.
Now, I am going to tell you, I already said this when you said, how's it going? And I said, not well. Yeah. You then picked...
Well, no, that the hardcover is the middle one. Yeah, that other paperback's the last one.
Okay, right? So this is the one you picked
second
to last, or in the middle. Yeah, there's 4 picks. And you picked Mort, which is the apprentice of death. And
I thought Death was on holiday.
Well, now it's back.
Death took a holiday and I became his apprentice?
You played
Am I going to become Death?
You played a song. And then the Apprentice of Death showed up. So it was, hey, if you've got a really bad
What'd
band...
you do with my master?
What's our band called? It's all the...
Roth, Funkel, and Oates?
Yes. We have all the worst, band members that got kicked out of real groups.
Right.
Formed like an anti-super band.
Yeah.
And that's what we've done.
Yeah.
Like the Armpit Salesman.
Yeah.
And here we go. This is a death card. But here's the thing.
Death card's a good card. It just means
correct.
Change.
New beginnings.
Death of the old way.
Death of the old way.
Which is what I'm shooting for.
So basically, soul music is you followed your passion, which is this podcast.
Yeah.
But then there's a death of it because you have this new podcast. Wait,
that's-
I don't want to do this.
No,
reading.
that is the death of my old career because this podcasting is going to become the new thing.
I like your interpretation much better.
Podcasting is about to become my career, not just my hobby.
There you go. No, I thought it was the death of art. Yeah, I'm just.
That's what the next.
I was borrowing trouble there.
That's what the next podcast is for.
Yes. So I still believe my reading that this is. You now go to this new podcast, which is actually have sponsors for and people listen to, so that's good.
Yeah.
And then you picked this last book, which again, The Hogfather. We're coming into the Christmas spirit.
Got Santa on the front
with tusks. He's it's this javelina kind of.
It's a hog Santa.
Yeah, he's kind of halfway between Santa and Krampus.
Is he green, or is that my color blindness?
Well, he's mean. I'd say the mean Joe Green kind of thing going on there. But really what this story is about is, again, the theme of death taking a holiday. See, death took a holiday in soul music so that you could form a band, this podcast.
Yeah.
So you kind of push things off. And then death shows back up.
Yeah.
And then, again, you have this death takes a holiday and he replaces Santa in this book.
Well, I am gonna ruin Christmas next week. Also,
so this is about your next episode.
That's our next episode when I take my turn ruining Christmas in a totally different way than Moz did last year.
Yeah. Well, that's what happens. Santa is missing. Death takes his place.
It's the annual MLT Ruins Christmas special.
Yeah, I did it last year. Yeah. You're just keeping up the tradition.
I'm going to do it so bad this year. It's a rough one.
So I think we have a pattern here emerging of a lot of destruction, change, death of old ways, death of new ways, death of Christmas, death of death.
I enjoyed that greatly.
Band deathness.
You should hone your style a little, pack up those books and take it on the road, man. You set up shop somewhere.
If anybody wants a Terry Pratchett divination reading, we will be charging $1.
Or $1 a month at our Patreon at patreon.com/monsterloretour.
Hey, we can give all our we have so few, we really could give all our Patreon members a reading.
You definitely have time for that.
This is like, if we ever get popular, we can't do this, but right now we can do this.
We are at a point where you could get away with that.
Yes. Yeah. So if you're interested in having a Terry Pratchett Patreon reading, I'll be happy to do that for you. We'll figure out how to do that just from a distance.
Well, if you're in our go on our Patreon, leave us a message on this episode on the Patreon, and we will hit you up. Leave your email or something, or we'll just message you back right there. We'll figure it out.
And we're going to finish on Good Omens because that's where it started.
Nice.
Which is a story about the apocalypse, though.
I think there were good omens in that reading you just did for me. I enjoyed that greatly.
Yeah. Well, that's one interpretation, Jeremy.
All right, but this episode's getting long, so we're going to wrap it up here. I hope everybody enjoyed the follow-ups. We will be back next week, as I said, for my turn at ruining Christmas with our Christmas special. Then we'll have our New Year's Eve episode about the Djinn from MOZ, and then we got a Poltergeist episode and all kinds of cool stuff coming up in the future. So make sure you stick around, hang out with the Monster Lore Tour. Again, it's patreon.com/monsterloretour. Just $1 a month gets you early access to all these episodes, and side trails come out right along with the episodes. And it's only $1 a month. Helps us out. We'll buy books with it. That's really what we want to do with the Patreon money. We just want to buy some books.
Not Pratchett
to make
necessarily.
No, books for the podcast to make it even better.
Yeah.
So we will, as our membership increases, we will try to improve our quality, improve our output.
How could we not?
I mean, it's only up from here, right?
Correct.
But so we'll see you next week for the Christmas special. Until then, to all our fellow paranerdalists out there. Yes, Moz.
Jeremy, always ruining Christmas.
And I will, in a very harsh way, next week. So to all our fellow paranerdalists out there, until then, have a good one.
Monster Lore Tour Podcast.
Blowing some mimes?
Blowing some... Ooh.
Sorry.
What does that sound like?
Nothing.
Ah, damn it.